Okay, this is my episode. I got a whole lot of things going on, obviously. I got court tomorrow on this property right here. It's going to my 4 kids, the business, whatever. Um, but I'm going to try to do my best. I'm going to continue to keep bringing content. This is raw, unedited, or whatever. So I'm going to try to set the record straight the best I can. First thing off is the pure ignorance of all this. So, how did I wind myself into this position? I mean, clearly because I'm too ignorant to, file the paperwork, know how to do everything, buy the book, and show proof of income or whatnot. And everybody that is a small business owner or has actually done this shit for a living, has actually hustled for a living, especially if you don't own any property or you don't have anything, renting a shop and doing the work, you're not, filing paperwork isn't getting any cars done. And most people, they rent a shop, they have an apartment, they have this and that or whatever, and reality is customers, especially if it's customers don't give a fuck that you're filing paperwork. They bring you a cutlass to paint. All they care about is the quality of work that you do for the cash that they give you. Everybody knows that. And there's a whole lot of people, out of pure ignorance. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you about my background and my parents and my upbringing and the broken home that I came from or whatever. And that's because of pure ignorance, uneducation, poverty, whatnot. And a lot of people that have found themselves into my children's lives, are bringing all that ignorance into there. So, for the record, if you hear me say something or put something where someone thinks it's out of context because of its vernacular, because you'll get plenty of content, I can speak, in the proper, vernacular, and I can say things in the contents of the way I was raised to speak. But I'm putting it out there, myself included, so everyone gets to enjoy my ignorance or whatever, Tomorrow I got the court appointment. I'll be recording that for everybody. So, I caught my wife in another lie. Supposedly, hey, America, did you know that with 4 kids or whatever, I was told her tax return this year was only $7,000 when last year it was $11,000, and I was lied to about that. And that's the thing here. I mean, and that's ignorance right there. That's, that's the cycle. That's the cycle of most, poverty-stricken, inner city, even rural poverty, this recidivism cycle that keeps happening because of ignorance, And some people like to glamorize that lifestyle of pure ignorance and that cesspool. And everybody knows me, my term for it is the piss in the hallway. You're going to make $1 million off the piss in the hallway and have not a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of to your grandchildren. Except you can school them the game. So, share this with my kids. If you can gain access to them, because, this is the only chance that they get to actually see their dad. And hopefully I'll see him soon or whatever. Because that's the difference is I want my kids to be better than me. And that means, I talked to Mike Schmidt about this. I can't use the fact that I was too ignorant to file for this or that or know all this and that. Once upon a time, everyone knows me personally. Once upon a time, I didn't know how to put hydraulics in a car. I had to teach myself that. Same thing goes with this too, or whatever. But what the point of the show is, other than obviously the show, is to show, especially, what everybody else is doing. Because in reality, the reality is, a bunch of people don't want my kids to have something because they feel a certain type of way about it. And they're not my kids' parents. And I can go off a whole list of people that have been brought into the situation that aren't going to resolve anything. And you want to know why they aren't going to resolve anything? Because they don't even know the full story. The DA, Detective Luber, there's a whole list of people, and I could go on with that, but I'm going to try to keep this airing short, It's pretty much been a year since I've seen any of my children, and everybody knows that was with me in Dane County knew what I was going to do when I got released. Shout out to my guy Chad. We're going to be rolling that 62, right? So, anyway, I got out, and she started crying about the fact that she lost her job. And I had stated, oh yeah, let's talk about the 8+ cars that got stolen, right? The 8+ cars that got stolen and no one's got any answers for, right? And I confronted the people about it, whatever, there's 3, we can go on and on. There's 3 vehicles that the windshields got busted on, and one of them was Jana's 2006 Tahoe. Well, I'm having somebody try to fix it while my hands are tied and the windshields, get busted. And that goes for my dad's car. And I'm supposed to be responsible? I'm supposed to be responsible for something. Okay, if that's the case, then I'll start vandalizing my shit here and blame it on, the neighbor or whatever. But I can go on with the list of that, and everyone thinks that's funny. Probably the same person that busted the windshield out of my dad's truck. And there's paperwork for that. A tree branch fell on it accordingly, right? And when my wife filed, once again, this is the cycle, because this property right here, I didn't even want a mortgage. I wanted to buy it. Everyone knows me, knows I wanted to buy a place outright in cash. I might as well put it out for everybody, because she wanted that. I got the acreage with a 2008 3-bedroom house. It's not good enough for her. She treated it like a crack house and piled a 4-foot tall pile of garbage on the porch, and wouldn't even clean it up. And then when I confronted her about it to clean it up, she just started an argument because it's cute, and then called my parole officer, and then took all the money out of the house and went to go see Eddie that's going to get released from prison in 2 months anyway, And don't worry, I'm going to be talking about everything, because I haven't seen my kids in a year, and I told her flat out, do not bring my kids around here until you go get therapy. I have the paperwork from Danielle Burns that told her she needed to be in marriage counseling. She didn't want to show up to marriage counseling. She wanted to go out to the club with Blasa and get drunk. That's more important than her kids. Yeah. So, still, to this day, that's not important. It's everybody else's problem, not hers. And this is the ongoing thing. And when she filed, she was like, "Oh, okay, everything's good, whatever," and lied about, once again. It would be one thing if you said, "Hey, right, I didn't pay this, whatever." No. And that's why we're all here in this situation. And the more I kept trying to resolve the issue or whatever, and come to a resolution, the more times I got asked 80 billion questions of why don't you run over here? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just do that? And they're all questions you don't give a flying fuck about in the first place, what the reasonable answer is. Because they're all self-absorbed questions of why doesn't the world revolve around me? Maybe because it doesn't. Kind of like me, the world doesn't revolve around me. Imagine that. That's the ignorance right there. So, and then another wonderful thing is, bring this up, shout out to Daniel Clark. My apologies, Dan. And here I find out that Dan gave Jana $2,000 for his car. I only knew about $1,000. And blocked him